Hello Button Shy community, my name is Jake Burgoon and I'm excited to share with you my 2 to 3 player tile placement game, Family Favorites. The holidays are here and you have graciously volunteered to host your family for Thanksgiving dinner. The problem is that your family has some very particular preferences about where they want to sit. Some of your guests don't want to sit by other guests, some only want to sit by other guests, and some just want to be near the food. In Family Favorites, you will do your best to meet your family's preferences as you plan the Thanksgiving seating chart. You'll play the game with 2 types of cards. There are 12 guest cards, each featuring a family member. Each card gives you an immediate benefit if placed at the table in a certain way. Cards also give you benefits for being moved in a certain way. The other side of the guest cards feature parts of the Thanksgiving table, and cards can be placed or moved either side up. The other 6 cards are preference cards, which have guests on the front and sets of preferences on the back. At the beginning of the game, you'll be given 2 preference cards and will choose one guest from one card to help during the game. The other card will show your guest's preferences, and you'll get a certain amount of thanks for meeting each preference by the end of the game. The card with your guest's preferences can be turned around and combined with the other card to become your thanks tracker, which you'll use to keep track of your points during the game. Okay, let's see how the game works. We have a 2-player game set up here, and you and your opponent have each been dealt 1 guest card. The others have been placed in a draw pile next to the play area. You're the first player and begin the first placement phase by drawing a card and deciding which of your 2 guests you'll place at the table. Cards can be placed guest or table side up, but you'll often want to place cards in ways that give you immediate placement benefits. Aunt Millie gives you 1 thanks if she's placed in front of a turkey, so you'll place her here. Now it's your opponent's turn and they see Uncle Owen gives them 1 thanks if he's placed in front of a salad, so he's placed here. Now on to the movement phase where players move cards that have already been placed. You notice that Uncle Owen gives you 1 thanks if he's moved next to a grandparent, so you move him here, but now your opponent takes advantage of the open space. They see that Grandpa Joe gives 1 thanks if he's moved next to an aunt or uncle, so they move him here. Once all players have taken a movement action, they can choose to take another at a cost of 1 thanks, or pass and move on to the next placement phase. Let's imagine that you chose to help Cousin Eve at the beginning of the game. You'll want her to be guest side up to meet any of her preferences. So you take another movement action to switch Cousin Eve and Grandma Val. Cousin Eve gives you 1 thanks if she's moved in front of potatoes, which she is. So even though you spent 1 thanks to move her, it ends up not costing anything. Your opponent passes, so it's on to the next round. In rounds 2 and 3, you'll need to make some strategic decisions about where you place and move your cards. You'll want to make sure your chosen guest is sitting where they want, but you'll also want as many immediate benefits as you can while keeping an eye on your opponent's moves as well. After the 3rd movement phase, players check their preference cards to see how many of their guest preferences they've met. The player who receives the most thanks by the end of the game wins. Thank you Button Shy, stay joyful, stay thankful, and happy gaming.